Yo, thanks again for tuning into the Real Work Stories podcast where I talk about all things customer service. Again, thank you all for the likes, comments, shares, downloads, everything. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate it, y'all. So today, I have a question that I want to ask. How many of you have ever talked to a famous person at your job? Now, let me be a little bit more specific about what I mean. Because I don't mean like celebrities that's like on TV or in movies and stuff like that. I mean like somebody who either calls into your job or somebody who actually comes into your job if you work face to face that everybody at your job knows, right? Let me tell y'all about a couple of the famous people that I know. So like I keep telling y'all, man, most of my experience comes from working in call centers, right? I've done a lot of call center work. Not too much face-to-face stuff in my life. But at every call center I've ever worked at, there's a couple famous people that everybody knows, all right? So I'll tell you this story. I used to work for this phone company, right? I won't say who. And there was this guy who would call in every night. Every night, people. Like, I remember being in training and we would hear stories about this guy. Now, I don't know if it was his real name, but he went by Mr. Lee. And Mr. Lee would call in every day because he wanted to get phones unlocked. Here's the thing. It was always iPhones, and no lie, he always had like 15 of them. Now, when I first started working there, it was a pretty quick process. I mean, it took a lot of looking at stuff. There was a lot of things we had to look at first, but we could basically do it over the phone at one point. I don't know how they do it now. I don't work there anymore, but we used to be able to do it like almost on the spot. But he would call in, and every day he's got like 15 phones, and he's like, yeah, I need to unlock all of them. And here's the thing. We didn't need to know why. It was just, hey, I need to verify these 10 things on this checklist. If I can verify these things, you good to go. But we would always wonder, like, sir, how are you getting this many phones every single day? And here's the thing. He knew we could do it. So if he called in and you didn't do it, oh, he would start cursing, yelling, calling you all the names in the book. Now, of course, at that point, most of us would just hang up on him. I ain't mad at you. But it was constant. It was every day. Usually around 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m., somewhere around there is when he would start calling me. It never failed. Every day we knew Mr. Lee was going to call in. That's one of the famous people I'm talking about. Another guy I had from that same call center. I never figured out what his name was, but he went by the nickname that we gave him, which was Foot Fetish Guy. Now, you probably already know where I'm going with this one. But basically, he would call in, and all he ever wanted to talk about was what kind of shoes the women were wearing. He wanted you to describe your shoes in very eloquent details. He needed to know how high the heel was, what the material of the shoe was made out of, what color it was, if it had some kind of print or pattern on it. He wanted to know everything so he could have a good time. Now, I'm going to let you figure out what good time means, but I ain't talking about the TV show. Okay? Yeah. And he would do that on the phone. Now, the weird thing was, as if that part wasn't weird enough, he was so calm, cool, and collected about how he was having a good time that usually they didn't figure out what he was doing until he climbed to the mountaintop. And by that point, you're like, oh man, how did I fall for this? And he only wanted to talk to the women. It was crazy. He would, if he got a guy on the phone, literally he'd hang up. Then he'd call back in and he would do that. And again, this is another dude who was calling in like every night, multiple times a night to do this. It was crazy. All right. Now, another guy I had. Actually, this one might qualify. Now that I think about it, this one might qualify as a famous person. But I don't know. Y'all let me know. Let me know if this one counts as a famous person. So I once had this customer call in. And he claimed that he was Otis Redding. The funny part is, it's a little weird because it's like you already have a name that's sort of stand out. You know, you don't really meet too many people who claim to be Otis Redding. Now, I'm not saying that this person's real name wasn't Otis Redding. I'm just saying that I find it a little funny that you claim that you're Otis Redding. You can't verify your account information. I wonder why. I'm going to let that one go. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone who works in the call center has had that one prank call where someone claims to be either Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Prince, LeBron James, the Dalai Lama, or any other famous person that I could name. Y'all let me know if y'all have ever had this happen or if this only happens to me, because I need to know if I'm crazy or not. I just want to know. Now, this next famous person, I didn't actually talk to this person myself, but somebody told me about it. So I'm telling you. This guy would call in. Says his name was John Smith. Now, I'm not saying that's his real name. I'm just saying that that's the name that they told me this person gave. Okay? So John Smith would call in only to tell us the story about how he rode the bus with Rosa Parks. He doesn't want to talk about his account. He doesn't want to talk about any company business. Now, I can hear the customer service brain in some of y'all like, nope, no. We're not doing this today. You driving up my handle time. No, we are. What can I help you with your account? Or can you get off my phone? I hear it. I know. Trust me. But in a weird way, it's kind of captivating. Like, I almost want to hear this story, right? But then he would also talk about, not only did he ride the bus with Rosa Parks, but he said that Malcolm X was on the bus with them too. Now, I just have a couple questions for Mr. John Smith. Were y'all like riding to the park? Were y'all going to, play baseball? Was y'all going to get some candy or something from the corner store? Like what was the circumstances between you, Rosa Parks, and Malcolm X riding the bus together that for some reason only their names ring any type of bells historically, but I don't know who in the world you are? Like, what's the saying? Birds of a feather flock together. Well, you need to getting to do something kind of amazing, sir. I'm just saying. You seem to be the lame friend in the group if those are the people you rode the bus with. Now, he never specified if he was actually on the bus with Miss Rosa Parks on that special day. You know what I mean? On the day that she decided not to get up. He didn't say if he was on the bus on that day. But he just loved to talk about how he rode the bus with Rosa Parks and Malcolm X. Do with that information what you will. I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried, y'all. This is real. Another customer I had. This one was terrible. And again, this is a guy who would only call in. He only wanted to talk to women. This is so weird. Anyway, so what he would do is he claimed that he was a doctor. And he would call in and he would ask you legitimate questions about his account. So you think it's a normal phone call. What he's waiting for is for you to cough, sneeze, hiccup, any signs of any potential irregular breathing pattern, that's what he's listening for. What is he doing? What he's listening to hear that. So now he's going to introduce his medical degree. Oh, you're coughing. Oh, no problem. The doctor's here. Yes, I'm also an MD. What I want you to do is just breathe into the phone so I can examine your breathing patterns. Now, I am not qualified to say whether or not you can diagnose any type of breathing problem over the phone. But I just don't think that that's how it's supposed to be done. I'm pretty sure you use a stethoscope or some other kind of high-tech medical piece of equipment to figure out if an individual does or does not, in fact, have some type of breathing problem. But he swore he could do it over the phone. And again, he was very slick, very cunning with his words. And I actually know one of the young ladies he was talking to, and she did it. She said, yeah, I think I'm coming down with a cold. Y'all, she fell for the ruse. She fell for it. She said, I think I'm coming down with a cold. I've been kind of coughing off and on all day. I got some throat lozenges at my desk. He said, no problem. Just breathe into the phone so I can examine your breathing, right? So here she goes, just breathing her life away, breathing her lungs out into this headset at her desk. And then he gets quiet. Now, I don't have to tell you what happened next, but she figured it out and ruined his 15 seconds of fame, if I can say that. But the fact that you would use the ruse of, like, how many times has he done this to be this successful at it that he knows that if I introduce my MD status at just the right time, I can get these young women to breathe into the phone for my personal reasons. Be careful, y'all. You work in a call center, you work face-to-face with customers, I don't care which one you do. Be careful. Some of these people are conniving, cunning, and it is terrifying. Some of them are twisted, demented, and have thoughts that one shouldn't have. All I'm saying is, be careful, y'all. But look, I ain't even gonna hold y'all. That's all I got for today. We're gonna call this Famous with a Twist. Now, here's what I need y'all to do. If you don't already, follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Real Work Stories Podcast. I'm going to add a post to both pages, and I want y'all to comment and tell me what famous customers you have talked to before. Who's a regular that calls into your job and is just, off the walls? Who's a regular that comes into your job that is just always memorable? I don't care if it's funny, I don't care if it's semi-serious, whatever it is. I want to know. Why? Because I just don't want to tell my stories. I want to tell yours too. Now, if you don't want to comment on the page because you don't want nobody to know it's you, that is absolutely fine. DM me on Instagram or Facebook. I do not care. You feeling a little old school? You want to email me? realworkstoriespodcast@gmail.com. That's realworkstoriespodcast@gmail.com. You can find the email on both of my social media handles. Email me, tell me the story. I want to hear about it. But that's it for today. I'm going to let y'all go. Holla.